Hello my friends, my name is Lindsey and I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Today we're back at my desk because I had so much fun filming that tier ranking video. So much fun, enjoyed that video so much. I hope y'all liked it as well. I wanted to do another video here at my desk though because this is fun. It's kind of chatty, but it still feels a little more professional, I guess you could say, than me just like sitting somewhere. It's just me chatting about books at my desk, and this is where I sit a lot. Like if I'm not here in my chair, I'm in that chair. So it's lots of fun. I thought though we could discuss my reread books of 2023 and then just some loose goals for rereading for 2024. I don't really set big reading goals, but I'll discuss that in a minute. So I am here at my desk. I've got a stack of books. I've got my little mini Daisy. A couple of y'all actually noticed it in another video, and I was just so impressed by y'all's hawk eyes. And yeah, it's a miniature Daisy. It even has the little white strip. I will put the Facebook page of the lady who made my little Daisy. Big Daisy though, normal Daisy, who's actually currently asleep and not barking yet for this video. She's very offended by this little Daisy, by mini Daisy. She has been fussing at it. I don't know if she wants to play at it or if she's offended by it. I don't know. But she's not thrilled about Mini Daisy, but I think Mini Daisy is adorable. Not as adorable as real Daisy, but Mini Daisy's pretty cute. So I have a stack of books I reread. I didn't reread as much as I thought I would. I think it's like 12 books, and out of 170 books I read in 2023, that's not the best. But it's not that big of a deal. The problem I have, though, is that this stack of books that I reread, none of them were like ones I needed to reread. Really, they were just me rereading them for fun and joy, which is fine. Totally fine. I needed joy, every little bit of joy I could get last year. But I have, so this second shelf here, wait, this is really awkward for me. That second shelf, is that right for y'all? Yes, okay, I got the flip out screen, but like it's a mirror in this, it's weird. Anyway, okay, so that shelf is my reread books, like books I need to reread to see if I'm going to keep or not. And I first discussed that, that was quite a few videos ago, years ago even. So those are still here, still waiting for me to read to see if I'm gonna keep them or not. Honestly, I feel like some may be kept, other ones, I don't know y'all. There's some that are probably very likely to be on hold. So I still have those. Those were the ones I should reread. I want to try to focus on that every year, but does that happen? No, I get distracted by other shiny new things. So yeah, I read 12 other books, which, you know, I'm not upset about that because I enjoyed all these. I'm keeping all these. I reread them and still enjoyed them. That is the goal. I do wish I would have knocked off at least a couple off that list. I did attempt to read one. But it was so old historical Christian fiction in the sense of like 2014 style, and if you know, you know, where that was like the girls who thought they could do the man's job and just like very that style, and that is not my thing. Like I really remember liking it when it first released. Let me grab it. But the book I was discussing was Plots and Pans. I don't remember how far into this, and then I was just like, I don't want to read this anymore. This is kind of putting me into a slump, so I feel like I should unhaul it for that reason alone. But I didn't really read it. I didn't finish it. And then I gave it 4 stars when I first read it. When was it released? It was released 2014. Oh, I was right on the money there. Okay. So 2014, it's very much that I can do everything. How dare you, a man, tell me what not to do? And that's just not my thing. Younger Lindsey was kind of got that concept, and that was all I really saw in this Western world. Oftentimes in Christian fiction, that's a very common trope. I won't say that's all I saw. It's a very common trope, and this girl was just driving me up the wall reading it now. So I don't know. Did I reread this one? Not really, so I'm not counting it. But I did attempt to reread at least one off that shelf, but I didn't do well elsewise. So I just have these stacked in no particular order except grouped with their series, so let's just discuss them. Some of these stayed their rating, some went higher. I think one dropped So yeah, first book, The Reluctant Godfather by Allison Tebo. This I've been talking about for the last handful of videos because this was another favorite honorable mention for me for my clean fiction books, for my favorites of the year. Were you an honorable mention? It was a favorite. Forgive me. It was a favorite. It wasn't an honorable mention. I knew this information. This is a retelling, reimagining of Cinderella, but it's told from the very grumpy, very reluctant Godfather's point of view. And this was almost like reading it for the first time this time because I didn't remember the ending. I barely remembered any of it. I just remembered that I really enjoyed it. So I reread it this year in hopes to continue the rest of the series, and that didn't happen. So there's always 2024, right? There's always this year, hopefully. So I honestly will probably reread this one again in 2024 here this year, and then hopefully finish the rest of the series that's out thus far because it's a really fun series. I have heard this book is the best in the series, but I think it's more of the sense of this is going to be a really hard book to top because it was so cute. So cute, so much fun, very humorous. Yeah, read this one. I think I gave it 4 originally, and I'm bumping it up to a 4.5 because I just enjoyed it so much. Another series I reread was actually a manga series, and that's the Orange series. This is the collection 1, 2, and then a future one, and the final book in the series that's like this size came out in 2023, I think it was. So I wanted to reread the whole series, and I'm glad I did because I understood what was happening a lot more this read through because this was one of the very first manga series I read. And if you're not familiar with manga, you read them, okay, so like number one, the spine's different. Like this is the front cover, and then you start reading from technically the back, so it's very different, and I was very much struggling with that when I first read it, and then keeping track of who was who because it's all in black and white. I need color desperately, my friends. I need color. So that was really difficult the first time, but I reread them and I was able to follow along and get more understanding and out of it in general. I just understood more. I got more out of it. It was a really, I can't say it's good, but like it's one of those like it will make you cry, pull on your heartstrings, very emotional. There is some content, so I'm going to link my Goodreads reviews to these. There's a little bit of language. It's good. It's just, it will probably make you cry because it does have to do with suicide and the emotions of that, the friend group. Like, I love when I see a good friend group in books, and that's definitely what made this series so good for me, is that friend group and just how much they cared for each other. I just really loved that aspect. So, yeah, reread those, still enjoyed them. It's definitely for older teens, but it has a good message, but there's no faith content. So, like, as a Christian, I view things differently than these characters do, obviously. But, yeah, it's one of the better manga series out there, in my opinion, because there's a lot of terrible ones. There's a lot of, it's questionable. So, I even hesitate recommending manga on my channel because I know there is just so much ick out there in the manga world. But at the same time, I want to recommend ones that don't have that ick. So it's kind of that catch-22 dilemma. But if you like manga and you haven't read the series and you're in high school age or older, that might be one for you. But yeah, it's just about a group of friends and they try to stop a friend from committing suicide. So yeah, it's an emotional read. It's an emotional read. Another reread. Okay, so now moving on, the rest of these books are Christian fiction for sure. Reluctant Godfather was more clean fiction. Orange was obviously manga, and now we have Christian fiction. So, Victoria Grace, The Jerkface by S.E. Clancy. I reread this one. I had read it when it first released, and the author had sent me a copy and then let me know that, a couple things, 2020, wow, I thought this was a little bit older than that. In 2020, she sent me a copy, and then a few things changed, and I've been so curious about what were the little changes, and it was little minor content things that changed. So then I bought a copy and I've been waiting to reread it, and I actually picked it up back in June for my my birthday month reading vlogs, and it was really good. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 originally, and it's at a 4 now. I don't have a note on that, but I did really enjoy it. It is about a girl named Victoria Grace, and I don't personally think she's a jerk face, but she has to do this assignment at her school, and it ends up getting her involved in a retirement village, volunteering at a retirement village, and then she meets Marigold Williams, and she's got a story to tell, and it's just lots of fun. There's a little bit of romance, but it's just cute. Contemporary Christian YA is my thing, so if you haven't read this one, I feel like it's a hidden gem. And if you like contemporary Christian romance, I think you ought to check it out. I feel like if you like Jenny B. Jones, you will definitely like this book. I'm not a big Jenny B. Jones fan, but I like this book because it was cleaner than hers in the term and the content, and also just way less celebrity or brand mentions. That's something Jenny B. Jones does a lot, and that's not really my thing, but there's that. I also need to point out that the acknowledgements on the back of this book just gets me tickled. Not the reviews. The author's mom says, "I think it's okay," and then the author's dad, "Usually I prefer murder mysteries," and I just think that's the sweetest, cutest little, I don't know, that just, I feel like that gives you a taste of what's in this book humor-wise, and it's really fun. I enjoyed it. It's a good one. I also reread The Wonderland Trials by Sara Ellett. This was in preparation of the sequel of this duology coming out, The Looking Glass Illusion. I knew I needed to reread this first book to be able to understand what in the world was happening in the second book. And this one, I gave it a 4 stars originally. I think it's more of a 3.5 for me. And it's a reimagining of Alice in Wonderland in a kind of dystopian setting. Kind of dystopian alternate universe, maybe more so. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know what was happening at some points with this book and the sequel, because it's got that Wonderland nonsense madness vibe to it, which is fun, but when the characters are confused, the reader's typically confused, so there is that. I did like this book, though. I still think this is one of the prettiest covers to ever happen. It's a gorgeous cover. It looks like a deck of cards, which has so much symbolism in this. I would say it's really more of a clean fiction series. Like, there's a very light allegory, and then you see it a little bit more in the second book, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I reread it in preparation of the second book. It's a fun series. I don't really know what else to tell y'all about it. I feel like that's kind of the main gist. So yeah, there you go. One of my goals for 2023 was to read 3 different trilogies, reread them. And I knocked off 2 of them, so I'll be pushing off the 3rd one to this year. But one of those series was the Brides of Style series by Janice Thompson. I kind of spread it out over the last half of the year, and that the first book is Brides. Every Bride Needs a Groom, and I gave that one 4 originally, and I gave it still a 4. Then we've got Every Girl Gets Confused and Every Bride Has Her Day, book 2, book 3. And this is just a really sweet series. It's all about Katie Fisher, who wins her dream wedding dress on the day her longtime boyfriend breaks up with her. I don't really want to tell y'all too much elsewise about the plot. Just know that there is romance, but it's not with that boyfriend, because I got thoughts on him. And then there's the bridal dress shop's owner's cute son, who is a basketball player who's out on injury, and they're just really sweet together. That romance between Katie and the basketball player is just so sweet. There's humor, there's faith content. I would say the first book is definitely my favorite, because that really gets you into the world, and then there's a little bit of like family drama and family silliness and just Southern Texas twang, which Janice Thompson writes so well. She's one of my favorite authors for a reason. I would put this more for older high school girls, though, because books 2 and 3 have a little bit more hints of marital activities, if you will. So there is that. I did overall really enjoy this series, though. I wouldn't say it's my favorite by this author, but it is fun. If you like Off the Chain by Janice Thompson, that Gone to the Dogs mystery series, book 1, the characters in that remind me of the characters in this series, and I remembered seeing the similarities, but rereading this series, definitely I noticed the similarities of the small town Texas charm, the crazy, slightly elderly grandmother figures. Like, it's just fun in that regard. So it's a fun series. Really enjoyed it. If you like contemporary rom-com, I thought it was fun to revisit it, because I haven't reread this series since it released years ago. So yeah, it was fun to revisit everybody. I started off my rereading though, and I'm going to finish off this video for the rereading section with the Paige Adler series. This series is everything. I think I gave them all 4, 4.5. I honestly don't know. If I was going to rate the whole series, I probably would give it like 5 stars, but individually I think they got 4.5, 4, 4.5. I'm not sure, I'd have to relook. But Page Torn, Paige Rewritten, and Page Turn. This is such a good series. It has recently come to my attention though that this is a hard series to find. And that makes me so sad. So sad. Like, I can't even put into words how sad I am that it is hard for y'all to get a hold of this series, particularly in physical form. I know a lot of Hooplas have them. My Hoopla has it at least, and I've seen a couple other comments that Hoopla has them. So if you're okay with ebooks, that's an option. But physical books, that third book is hard to find and expensive online. So I'm hoping that maybe one day the author will reprint them, republish them, do them indie. It's a great series. It's a fantastic series. Is this my favorite series by this author? Oh, that's a good question. Why are you asking me that question? You didn't ask me that question. I'm asking my own self that question. I do really love the Carrington Springs series. That trilogy. I really like that trilogy. But I almost feel like Paige might be my favorite. Paige might be my... Are you my favorite, Paige? I feel like she is. I just love her so much. It's also set in Texas, which... What can I say? I'm very proud of my home state. I love my home state. And... it's just, it's great. There's humor. And the thing is with, I feel like I spammed y'all like crazy with quotes from at least Page Torn throughout the year. Because there's so many good humorous parts. There's faith content. There's just so, like, it's great. It's great. It's nearly flawless. Like, it's one of those book series that I have a really hard time putting into words how much I enjoyed it. Like, if I really like a book, I can give you a coherent, typically-ish, coherent-ish discussion about it. But when I really enjoy a book, it's just, you know? You know, I know y'all have that feeling. Any book lover probably has had that feeling. And that's definitely the series for me. Because I just love Paige, and well, there is a little bit of a love triangle in it, but I don't feel like it was that big of a deal, and I feel like you know who she's going to end up with, but you still do a sigh of relief when she ends up with the right guy kind of thing. Yeah, it's humorous, it's fantastic, the faith content. I love Erynn Mangum's books for so many reasons, and I'm just going to fangirl about her books again because I will take every opportunity to do that. Because they're realistic, and they're almost, how I've said, slice of life, which is a manga term for just like, you know, day-to-day life interactions. And I don't really see that in like normal books, non-manga books, but I want to use that term for her books because they are kind of day-to-day, just the main girl doing life, and there may be romance in it, and there may not be much, but it's always there. But the main focus is always just trusting God and going with Him day to day. And I just find that so inspirational and so encouraging because all of her main characters, except for her one young adult book, are all in their early 20s, and I just love that so much, especially now that I am in that age category. I'm 24 and a half, if you want to be honest. So I just love seeing these godly young women living their day-to-day, having their conversations with God, and just all of that. I just love it. It's so inspirational for me, and this is why I recommend her books so much throughout all the years on my channel, because they are just so special. I feel like there's no author that does it like Erynn Mangum. Her faith content, her discussions, and just the humor added in throughout the rest of the plot. It's just unmatched, in my opinion. Which that's actually a pun, and if you got that pun, I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you. So, it's just, it's happy size. Happy size all around for her books. I wish everyone would read them. I feel like that's another reason why I really recommend them for, even though, yes, they're probably technically more new adult, but I don't like saying the words new adult, because when I say new adult, that typically means there's sexual content. At least in like the secular book world, there is a sexual content in the new adult books. And I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not necessary. It's ridiculous. So I hesitate calling them new adult, but I mean new adult in the age group of the characters and who this is probably more so aimed for, but young adults can read it too. And I think those whether like 13, 14, 15, those getting into high school, I feel like this would be a really good inspirational series for those girls, because it's kind of like that role model look. You know, that's the word I'm looking for. Her characters, especially in this series and the Carrington Springs series, they feel like role models and just someone you want to be friends with. Just someone you want to be friends with that's going to be a good, godly influence on your life. I love that. That is what her books are. And yes, there's my fangirling. There's my fangirling. I tabbed the first book like crazy because there was just so many parts. And also, I love this part so much. I just randomly opened to it. I really don't know what I'm not ready for, but I'm not ready for any of it. A wedding sounds fun, but a marriage sounds terrifying. It's so realistic. I adore her books so much. I don't think I actually shared that quote online. I shared multiple other quotes on Instagram and TikTok and all of that. So if you follow me there, you've heard me fangirl about this series. I know it's hard to get though, y'all. So if you can find it, get it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I'm not someone who says must read. I'm not. Because some people like different things, you know? We all like different things. Not some people. We all like different reads. So I don't like saying this is a must read. Because if I told like a fantasy-only fan, a fantasy-only reader, like, oh, hey, you must read this contemporary rom-com series, I feel like I'm ignoring what they like, and I don't want to do that. And, like, there's more nuances to it, but that kind of thing in the sense of everyone has different reading tastes, everyone likes different things. If you're gonna try contemporary romance and that's not your thing, an Erynn Mangum book. Erynn Mangum. I recommend her. If you like contemporary romance and you just want that lovely, awesome plots like I just talked about, Erynn Mangum. This has become an Erynn Mangum fangirl video, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. So, I had 3 series I wanted to reread, and that was the Paige Adler series, and the Brides with Style series, and the Edwardian Bride series. This is the problem with the Rainbow Bookshelf. I can't remember where the other spines are. Oh! Okay, so the Edwardian Bride series. It took me a minute to find them. I'm so sorry. I did not get to this series this year, and I'm really sad about that because I really wanted to, but it sounds like the author, Carrie Taransky, will not be having a book releasing in 2024. I think she's having one at the beginning of 25. Am I remembering that right, or am I getting that mixed up with someone else? I could be getting that mixed up with someone else, but regardless, this is now, so moving on into the next part of this video, is my goals for 2024. So I would like to reread this trilogy. I adored this trilogy when I first read them, when they first released. It's been a while. This was actually, fun fact, this was actually my first review copy I ever got for BFCG, was an advanced reader copy of this book. I still have that advanced reader copy. This is a final, when was this? 2013, yep, that would be right. That would be right, or the first half of 2013. And this is a final copy that I bought because I enjoyed the book so much. But I remember really enjoying this series, really enjoying this trilogy with the faith content, the sweet romances. So this is a goal, to reread these in 2024. Because I didn't get to it in 2023. So we're going to do that. I'm going to scooch y'all over. Other ones I'd like to reread, let me grab them real quick. I hear a mail truck. Are you delivering me books? That is the only acceptable interruption for this. What is that box? Oh no. Okay. No, not books. Disappointing. Mom will be happy about that. It's our tamales we ordered. So, okay. That's not bad. So, rereading goals for 2024 is honestly just reread what I want to. Reread what I feel like. I have a stack of books. I only grabbed a few of them. I've got ideas, and I actually have a shelf on... Daisy says hello now. This is going to be a little chaotic and noisy now. My family's home. The beagle is awake. There's deliveries happening. So we're just going to keep going with it. So sorry for the noise. Let's focus on the books, though. So, I just want to reread what I feel like, what I'd like to read. I have some options here, and I've got ones that are high priority. So, like the Carrie Taransky trilogy, I want to reread. I really want to try to do that. Another series I've been saying I'm going to reread. The Christy Miller series. I need to get on this. I feel so bad that I have not had this series reviewed on BFCG. I think I've got this first volume collection and then the second one reviewed on BFCG, and that's it. I really would like to get working on this series because I actually haven't finished the whole series. I've read this main Christy Miller series. I read the college years. I haven't read the married or the baby years. I've read the Serena Jensen series, which is a spin-off, which I would like to reread as well. I have not read the Katie Weldon series, which is just a crime because Katie was the best. So I feel like I need to read those. And then there's like another spin-off series, I can't think of the name. And then there's like 5 other random loose spin-off books. Like this is like a 50+ book series. Will I get to it all in 2024? I love that idea. I love that enthusiasm. It's not realistic for me though, because I have to read so many other books for review, and then there's just other books that catch my eye, so it's probably not going to happen. But I could start it. And actually, no, I would restart it from the beginning. I wouldn't start in the middle of the series. I would want to restart it. I feel like this would be an interesting reading vlog, rereading this, because I adored this book as a preteen teenager, and when I reread it, I still really liked it. So I think it'd be an interesting reading vlog. Would I still like it as a 24-year-old? I don't know. Like 24 to 14. That's a really big life difference. So would I still enjoy it? I think I would, because it's, number one, it's nostalgic for me, but also it's got a good message, and it's contemporary Christian YA, my favorite genre. This is honestly one of the books that really started my love for that genre. So I should reread this series this year. I've been saying that though for how many years? How many years have I been on booktube? Well, yeah, about that same amount of time. So eventually I will get to that. Another trilogy I'd like to reread, which I have been talking about, is the Carrington Spring trilogy by Erynn Mangum. This is going to happen. Katie in Waiting, which I feel like I need to reread this now. So many of my friends are married, pregnant, having kids, and it's like real life acquaintances, and it's a little weird, y'all. Like I am at that age where this is just weird. This is weird. This is so weird. So this book kind of has that message, that mindset, and I remember just loving it. So I want to reread that one, Once Upon Eliza and Happily Ever Ashton. This was such a good trilogy, and if I remember right, there's not really a ton of romance. Like it ends with there could be a potential romance. There may be more one day for this couple, but that's not the main focus. It's trusting the Lord and leaning on His guidance. And I love that message, and I need that guidance daily. So I think I'll be rereading that one for sure. Now, some other random books I thought I could reread would be Truth Be Told by Carol Cox. I have reread Love in Disguise multiple times by this author. That is definitely my favorite by this author. But she has this book and another book that just went out of my brain. I'll put the cover here. And I thought it would be fun to reread this one. I haven't read it. It's a newspaper historical mystery. It's set in Arizona in, let's see, 1893. And that's my time period. This author is, I think, a hidden gem. There's really just these 3 Bethany House books, and then she's done some novellas, I think, and then some mysteries. But her historical 3 books with Bethany House, I really enjoyed all of them. I still really like Love in Disguise because I've read that one a couple years ago, reread that one a couple years ago. But I'd like to reread this one. Oh, Trouble in Store. That's the other one. That one, that would be nice to reread, but I remember more of that plot, so maybe that one next year, and then this one this year. This has to do with a newspaper, though. And look at the back cover. Isn't that cool? That's so cool. Like, this was a time period where I think I really love, 2014, that this was published. This is the time, the era of Bethany House published books that I really like seeing the design even on the back. Like, it's just so, like, it matches so well. And I think that's fine. Not saying there are new ones don't, but like this was a different time for Bethany House, and I really like seeing the little details. The little details, it's so nice. So I could reread that one. Also, The Story People by Heather Kaufman. Y'all, I've only read this book once, and that is a shame. That is an absolute shame because I adored this book. I adored it. It was fun. It was sweet. It had light romance. It had matchmaking. It's bookish. It's set at a bookstore. The main guy inherits his uncle's bookstore. The main girl is a children's author, illustrator, something like that. And I was enthralled by this story. So I want to reread it. Like, I'm really sad I didn't get to it in 2023, but this year I will reread it because everyone I have seen who has read this one, because I fangirled about it, has loved it. So I want to reread it. This might kind of fun to do as a group read, maybe. I don't know. Would this be a group read kind of book? I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful book. Another hidden gem in my opinion. So, this font even. This is not the normal font, but I love it. Also, want to point out that there are chapter titles in this book. I totally forgot about that. I love that. What is this font, my dear friends? Do y'all remember this font? This is not a normal book font, and I love it for that because it's so nice on the eyes. So, yes, wow, that looks very salmon. Interesting. Really loved this book, and I would like to reread it, so hopefully I will. The final trilogy I think I'm going to focus on for reading this year would be the Backstage Pass trilogy by Janice Thompson. It's been a while since I've read this series. This will actually, I think, be my third time reading this series, maybe? I'm not sure about that, but it is a really fun series. It's actually her only series, I think, that is not set in Texas. It is set in Hollywood, which, you know, that's a little dicey, but this is about... Hang on, my friends. I've talked so much. But this follows the cast of a family-friendly sitcom show, and it's so much fun. So, like, this first book, she is the main actress, and the thing about Janice Thompson, she writes such good old lady characters, and her grandmother in this book is a very famous actress of, like, you know, the silent films, the golden era of film, and I just love that so much. So this book, she was an actress. Book 2, she was a director. Book 3, she is a writer. I think I have those right. So I'd like to reread this whole trilogy because I remember enjoying it. I feel like this was my favorite series by Janice Thompson. Though Gone to the Dogs has definitely, like, surpassed so many because I love that series so much. But purely written by Janice Thompson, because the other series was co-authored, this was my favorite. But I don't know. I'm going to have to reread to find out. But that is my rereading goals for 2024. And then reading other reading goals in 2024, I don't really have too much. I like to keep it very light, so like I did my Goodreads challenge at 50. Will I surpass that? Most likely probably around the time of my birthday typically. In June, I typically pass it. So I think that's a very easy goal. I would, though, also really like to read more off of my physical TBR. So I actually, in 2023, and I think I'll film a video on this, maybe. It will be about all the books I read off of my physical TBR, and did I keep them? Am I unhauling them? Am I undecided about them after reading them? Kind of thing. And so I want to do that kind of setup again because I made notes throughout the whole year. If y'all could see my notes folder on my phone or the computer, whatever, all my videos, all my thoughts, everything just gets put into this app. It's organized, I'd like to say, but there's a lot of notes. So I kept a note and I read 56 books off of my physical TBR last year. And now, mind you, some of those were DNFs, and I just went ahead and unhauled them. And that was really satisfying, especially as I'm entering into this year of 2024 with 185 books on my physical TBR. Now, where is my physical TBR? It's actually blocked. Y'all can't really see it, but this is double stacked. That is double stacked. That is single stacked. And then I've got a row down at the bottom. I've got a stack. I've got a couple books, so that's a little insane. That physical TBR is a little insane. And then on the rereading side, I think there's 23, including plots and pans. So I need to work on that. I want to continue. I got 56 off, and you know, here's the problem. I'm not going to be stopping buying books anytime soon, so I'd like to try to stay on top of it. Ideally, ending the year with being under 150 feels incredibly reasonable and doable, so I'm going to say that. And then other goal-wise, where were my other goals? I don't really have any other goals. I was really looking at my goals I made in 2023, and yeah, I really don't have any other goals. Read the 50 books, read books off of my physical TBR, read what I want to read, enjoy as much as I can, and then reread what I feel like. So I feel like that's a pretty reasonable, very doable. I could definitely say, like, oh, I want to read this book by this author. And I do have a list on Goodreads, actually, of I think it's 80 books that are high priority for me this year. I thought it was, I thought I could do the 24 and 24 that I keep seeing my different book friends doing. I'm like, that's so much fun. I love that idea. But then I just kept adding and adding and adding, and now I think I'm at 80. Currently, we're wrapping up filming this wise. I'm at the end of January, and I would say I've read 5 books thus far, and hopefully it will be double that by the time this video has been posted. I'll put that here. How many have I read that were on that priority list as of editing this? I don't know, so hopefully it's a good number. So yeah, that's really only thing I have to say today, talking about those rereads, what I want to reread, any goals. I'd love to know if you have any goals for the year. Do you make very specific goals? I'm always impressed by those who make specific goals, and then if you don't make them, you're okay with that. I have a really hard time with that. Like, if I make a goal, I want to meet it. I'm gonna feel very guilty if I don't, which is silly because it's reading. It's supposed to be fun. Hi, Daisy. Hi, you gonna interrupt? Hi. Are you being cute? I know, there's stuff all over the floor. Including your favorite blanket, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. So, yeah, I'd love to know if you set reading goals. Do you do very specific goals? Let me know if you have any specific goals. Because, like, last year I had hoped to read a Jane Austen book a month. Well, that definitely didn't happen. Hi, baby. That definitely didn't happen. I would like to read my very first Jane Austen book this year, but let me let her out. I'd like to read my first Jane Austen book this year and do a reading vlog of it. I know there is Jane Austen July, but will I wait till July? I could. Like, I think I'm going to get it done, but here's the thing. You always think you can read so much, and then life gets in the way. How rude. So, I don't know if I'll read more Jane Austen books this year, but I'd like to at least read one this year, maybe 2 even. I'm still undecided on which one will be my first one. I feel like it's not going to be Pride and Prejudice. If you have a recommendation for what should be your first Jane Austen book, feel free to let me know. I own all of them. Actually, that's part of my physical TBR. I own all of her books, which, mind you, she doesn't have a ton, but she's got a good amount, and I own them. So, yes, that is all I really have for y'all today. Let's chat in the comments. I'll put things in the description that I mentioned, links to reviews of the books I reread and anything else. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to chatting with y'all about your goals for the year. What's our goals for the year, my friends? I am looking forward to spring. My garden is going to be beautiful in spring. That is my goal. There's a meme that's been going around in all my plant groups on Facebook that's like what do you hope 2024 will bring? And they're like, flowers. Why is that? Because I'm planting flowers. I relate so much. I am planting so many flowers. I am so thrilled to pieces about that. So that's my goal for 2024, is to have beautiful flowers. And to read really good books. And to drink lots of tea. There's my goals right there in a nutshell. I love it. That could be a t-shirt. I would wear that t-shirt. But anyway, I'm going to talk y'all's ear off if I don't let you go now. I kind of already have been talking y'all's ear off. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know y'all's thoughts, comments. Let's discuss everything in the comments. I love discussing with y'all things. It's always so much fun. So I will see y'all there. I'll also see you in my next video. I hope you have an absolutely lovely rest of your day. I am Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there is a new review every Monday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday, and then I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads, all the many places to just make our TBRs grow. That's what I love to do, and I will see y'all next time. Have an absolutely lovely rest of your day. Bye!